All right, hello everyone, this is Numair Qureshi. I want to welcome you to the MixoChat series hosted by MixoType. So we hold these conversations about once a week, and the reason for this is we want to put you front and center with some of the movers and shakers of the world who you might not have always heard of. See, my whole thing is with MixoType, I want to help you guys explore identity so that you can become the best version of yourself through your journeys of self-discovery and self-transformation, but also through meeting the people that you meet along the way. Because you got to understand that personal growth and success is not just a self-oriented thing. It's symbiotic. You need to have other people involved with you so that you can become the best version of yourself. Now, what I love about this conversation that we're about to have today is that I'm going to introduce you to Price. So Price is a great guy, and he's pretty much dedicated his life to networking and meeting with people because he realized long ago that he was not happy with just working a normal blue-collar job. He didn't want to just live like the ordinary 9-to-5 lifestyle. It wasn't for him. So what he's done is he's found ways to become better through the people that he meets along the way. And that's kind of how I want to put this out there for you as well, that no matter where you are, no matter what your position is, no matter what your path in life is currently, that doesn't have to fully define you, that there are ways for you to transcend that. And I think what's special about Price is that he's not a celebrity, he's not world famous, he's not someone that you cannot align with. That's not to say that we're not going to have more established people as well. That's fine. I mean, identity is a powerful thing, and we're going to meet with many people from many walks of life. In terms of Price, though, his story is pretty unique, and I kind of want to just bring Price into the conversation here. And I want to let you know that, I mean, he grew up in the blue-collar industry. His family owns a business, but he really wanted to march to his own beat, if you will. And so, Price, what was it like for you growing up around here? What was it like for you to discover your own self, and who is Price?
So just growing up, pretty normal, mom and dad. My parents got separated when I was 10. It wasn't anything that was like too dramatic. I'm still very close to my dad and my mother, and my stepdad have been greatly influential. But obviously, like I think most kids around our age, parents get divorced. That's the thing that's going on these days. Which is an experience, right? Nothing too bad, but I'm very lucky to have 3 parents, instead of 2. That's kind of cool. Yeah. So just for me and my story is where the point I'm at, starting up, growing up, working in my dad's landscape company since I started maybe 14. Then rushed along into school, did the whole economics at UD, and then did about 10 years in the banking world. And what I discovered is I got bored. I get bored very quickly, and I just wasn't happy. There was just like the daily grind, the corporate politics. Just got kind of sick of it. And about 3 years ago, I just decided I was going to start focus while still doing the daily work stuff. Start focusing on a lot more side hustles or things that make me happy, and set aside time for that. So that's really where I started my own personal journey, just reaching out to people, cold DMs, cold call, anything, just to reach out to people I always want to talk to. And I just kind of been building that since there, and things take time to develop a natural chemistry relationship with someone. So that's where I'm at in my life now, and things are rolling, things are firing along.
So what was it like for you to make that decision to decide to leave the corporate space and kind of do your own thing? Like, did you kind of wrestle with any apprehension? Were there doubts along the way? Talk about what was it like for you to decide, you know what, let me just put myself out there, start networking and doing that?
Oh yeah, so even with the family business, right? Every father's dream is to have their son take over, right? And who knows, that may happen someday. But obviously, we've been through some rough patches, me and my father's relationship recently. But the passing of my grandpa, I think it's brought us closer together. And now we're starting to get on the same page. It's, there's old school and new school, right? And I'm new school, so there's different generations of thinking. But so that's been like a nice, crazy dynamic, that I think a lot of people could be going through with their relationship with their folks. And we're just like, God, this damn kid's playing Fortnite all day. What's he doing? Or for me, I'm playing FIFA all the time. And they don't understand that, part of our life and the new generation. And that's not doing anything, even though you can make 16 million if you win in Fortnite, right? Or get sponsors if you're pretty good in Fortnite or any kind of video game. So I feel like that's going to be a big space. Esports is really starting to take over, especially with like Corona going on, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to watch some esports or play some esports or play some games. And that's something that can be done not in a stadium, but you can still watch, whether it's on Twitch or probably being picked up by major networks. This e-gaming already has. So, yeah.
No, e-gaming is huge. I mean, I think the other night, like, they released another update for Fortnite.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of stuff that's happening. It's like things are transitioning over, man. Like, because of the whole pandemic, everyone's like going inside, and like this whole thing is this kind of shifted how we have to approach life. And I think that's really powerful to know that we have it within ourselves to kind of reinvent ourselves along the way and respond to the market as needed. So has that also transformed like how you respond to people as far as how you market or network with them and how you DM and whatnot?
Yeah, so like sort of like I never really got it like tactically, but of course there is like a method someone may have to get something done. So for me personally, you start following people that you like. Whether like I have a couple of people I follow that play FIFA a lot, that's what they do for a living, and they stream it, they Twitch it. And then I have some people that I like in like a marketing space. And then I have some people that I follow motivational wise. So I started about 3 years just starting with DMs, or liking their posts, commenting on their posts, throwing a DM on their Instagram story, and then just slowly building a type of relationship. And then I say, hey, this guy's in New York, and I'm going to go take a trip up to New York, visit some friends. I'll shoot him a DM, say, hey man, going to be in the area. Really like to catch up with you, Ken, trying to maximize my time up here. If you're around, let's link for coffee or something. And you get a yes or a no. And for me, I was so afraid of no's, literally until about 4 years ago. I was afraid to ask to go to prom. I was afraid to ask for literally anything. And asking for help is probably the number one thing I'll be saying most on this podcast, is ask for help. Because for us guys, we're macho men. We want to chop all the wood on our own. We want to do everything on our own. I feel like there's so many people out there that want to help others, but we're too scared to ask. So asking for help, I think, is number one key takeaway on this chat today.
Yeah, dude, that's incredible. So wait a minute, you were a shy guy.
Yeah, shy guy. Except for on the basketball court, I was very aggressive.
All right, hold on. So let's talk about that. So wait a minute. You said you were too shy to ask someone out to prom. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was so afraid. Because I'm still little, but I was so afraid to ask like the girl I had a crush on out for like even like a milkshake, whatever the hell we did back then. But yeah, man, just always been a little shy in that perspective, in that space. Like that wasn't my territory or field. Like I never felt comfortable there, honestly.
So wait a minute. All right, if that's the case, then like what? So like I want you guys to know, Price is someone who can strike up a conversation with anyone. Was that always something that you could do, or did you grow into that? What happened? What made you abolish or get rid of the shyness and just go for it?
Right. So I think I always could, but if I had like a crush on a girl, that was tough for me. And I've since like I guess maybe grown out of that, or just almost not caring what the result will be. Right. Just ask, because just like use basketball now. You guys shoot your shot, right? Shoot. And if you don't take that shot, who knows what'll happen. You don't want to live with the regret of not taking that shot. So like, I mean, you just gotta go for it. I mean, pretty much, you just gotta go do it. And sometimes you might not feel like you can, but you just gotta jump off the bridge. Seriously. Yeah.
So now you said that you were like a monster when it came to basketball. Talk about that. So I mean, how tall are you?
I'm probably about 6'2".
6'2", okay.
6'6" in heels.
6'6" in heels, right? So talk about that.
So that goes back to like upbringing. So when we moved when I was 10 years old, and it was a new development, and we were the first house in it, and where it was just being built down the street was a Boys and Girls Club, brand new on Route 40. Some people locally may have been there before, and it's around a tough area. And I was actually the minority when I walked into the Boys and Girls Club there, but I loved it. And I got really good at basketball there. There was a lot of people moving down from New York, which is notorious for good basketball players. That's sort of where I got my toughness on the court. So where it shaped my personality to who I am today. I made a lot of great relationships there. So now with all this Black Lives Matter movements going on, like I always understood that. So I had the privilege of growing up around a lot of African Americans, Latinos, and whatnot, and I've always felt comfortable around them, and they're great people. I mean, we're all humans, so that's sort of how like my basketball thing got started. Yeah.
It's incredible. So you're just in the boys, was it the youth program basically?
Yeah, I was just living in the gym at the Boys and Girls Club, playing summer league there, and then when we're not at the Boys and Girls Club, my pops put in a hoop for me on my 11th birthday. That was amazing. Yeah.
So how were you in basketball though?
I was okay. I played at the greatest high school in the country, Salesianum. Not too far from here. A little braggadocious. I love my school. I'm proud alumni. And then I played a little bit of junior college basketball, and then I really lost focus with basketball when I got on main campus at University of Delaware. And I was a street pharmacist, I guess you would say. And I was still partying a lot, and grades weren't really my thing then. Not really a test taker, and just got off track with basketball. But I still love the game. I love soccer now. That's actually how we met. My buddy Paul through the Liverpool group. We'll talk about that too. Yeah. That's a short story of my basketball career, I guess.
That's cool, man. Like the one thing that I really pulled from that, which I think is important for everyone to hear, is that there was this point at which you were shy and you were apprehensive in terms of asking a girl out even for a milkshake, and then somehow basketball fell into your lap. You were in the Boys and Girls Club, and that kind of looks like it brought out some of your confidence, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely brought out my aggressive side. You had to assert yourself. So growing up, I would be out there like 11, 12 years old, just battling with 18 and 19-year-olds. And you get good really fast, and you really feel older, stronger, and better. And that's just like, you had to hold your own. What would really wake me up when a game first started, I get my first elbow to the face underneath the basket. I just turned into like a machine, like Mike Tyson in the ring, something like that. There's a switch that just turns, maybe like Brian Dawkins, Philadelphia Eagles, like turn into another person. So just ultra aggressive on the court, I would say.
Relentlessness.
Yeah.
You know, I like to liken that to a fight. So it's interesting. For me, I was always confident growing up, but I'm also an introvert. Like, right now, I'm on camera, I'm talking to you, and I'll strike up a conversation with just about anyone. But it's interesting because when you see me in my natural settings, when there's people around me that I'm used to being around, I'm very much just kind of reclusive. I just kind of stay to myself. But what I found about sports is that, like, when you're training for like a competition or when you're about to train for a fight, it brings out a different side of you that you didn't know existed. It's interesting, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I was training for a fight like last year, and I fought my first full contact fight. And it's just like, there's a different side of you that comes up when you know that the person in front of you is a complete stranger and they want to knock your head off just as badly as you want to knock theirs off.
Absolutely.
Right?
It brings out the animal, right?
It brings out the animal. And I think that translates into every other area of your life.
Absolutely.
Like, I believe, and I was taught this by my Kung Fu instructor and my Kung Fu brother, Craig. They said that...
You do Wing Chun?
Not Wing Chun, I do Praying Mantis. Okay. But we do Wing Chun in the same academy as well. Okay. I just showed the Praying Mantis. Right? But like...
You have to teach me that later.
Sure. But with... What they taught me was that, like, I was always kind of on the fence, right? Like, I've got this MixoType thing going on, but then I've also got work. I've got this MixoType thing going on, but I also love to fight. Do I pick one or the other? And
great transition there. So, especially old school thinking, new school thinking, you can do everything or do both. I mean, just do everything. You don't have to pick one thing. I think that's foolish. All your eggs in one basket, right? How many times have you heard that, right? So why would you do that with your career? You need to have you can't be everywhere at once, but you need to have a lot of lines in the water, to use a fishing analogy, right? Put a bunch of lines in the water, maybe you'll catch a couple of fish. That's sort of my philosophy when it comes to like choosing one thing or another. Because we enjoy multiple things. Why would you just pick one? Do all the things you enjoy. That's what I bring away from what you just brought up.
I love that. Do everything that you enjoy. And the reason why that's so important is, though, everything that you do in life, especially the transformational stuff, it feeds into everything else. Think of it this way. I mean, if you have a bad diet and then you go out and then you decide to get some work done. How much of a lumberjack can you be if you're just like smoking and drinking and partying all day, right? On the converse, I mean, if you're training at the gym, that makes you stronger, it builds more confidence, it makes you feel better, it makes you look better. People treat you differently. Then something, that business deal that you want to strike up is more likely to happen. Right. I mean, you just got to be honest. Like, I think attraction has some element to do with business as well, right? You want to deal with people who look professional, who keep themselves in shape, who do well. And I'm not saying that you have to go to the gym. I'm not saying that you have to diet. But what me and Price are both saying is that you gotta not just be a one-trick pony, and don't be so hyper-obsessive of one thing that you let go of everything else. It's like that Fortnite player that all he does or all she does is just plays.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you gotta be multifaceted and multidimensional.
Yeah, like I just feel like, especially this generation, is debunking the old saying, jack of all trades, master of none. That's not really true. You can be a master of multiple things, or even techniques, like you're studying in your gym. So, yeah, just get your hands in a lot of pots, man, and just get after it. Yeah,
I mean, you're going to, like, pretty much, how do you say, shortchange yourself big time. Like, if your gut is kind of leading you down a direction, you almost have to throw caution to the wind. Like, I get it. There are entrepreneurs out there who've got their one main thing. Okay, that's fine. But you kind of really have to explore who you are. I mean, who is Price? I mean, is Price just a networker? No, he's also an athlete. He loves to play basketball. And what else are things that Price does that makes up who he is?
Yeah, so I always joke with people, like, Price the people's person. That's going to be my tagline when I run for some kind of office. Probably not. I'm not really into politics. But yeah, so for me, I like helping people. I like listening to other people's stories. That's where I get the most value, I think, from a daily basis. If I can talk to someone new, it's like I am with Numar here today. I just love hearing everyone's individual story, because like all this stuff happened in the universe and it made humans, right? There's one of us, right, of each of us, and everyone has a unique story. I think that's special. Not everybody's story is a Disney movie, right? But they all have their own individual thing. I think that's richer and more unique than a movie, right? So that's sort of my approach on things.
That's a really interesting perspective. See, one of the things I like to think of is that, so you say jack of all trades, master of none, but no, you can be the master of everything. Yeah. My whole perspective is I still think that the one thing to add to what you just said, I think you can only master one thing in life, but the thing that I think that you need to master is your story. And your story encompasses every other area of your life. Your story has to do with, I'm a mother of 3 kids, but I'm also this entrepreneur. I like to play tennis on the weekends. I'm happily married. Like, there's all these different areas to your life, but you got to kind of unify them.
I guess to tie that in, be a master of yourself, right?
Right.
So, and that can include a lot of things. And just like, speaking of example, we just had Uncle Elon up here on the big screen, Elon Musk. Did he stick to one thing? No. He's in electric cars, flying to Mars, all kinds of stuff. And maybe even doing a new political platform, I think I just read recently. So just think of like guys like Elon, like he's not just doing one thing. What if he just did one thing? He wouldn't have Tesla.
Right. So he's talking about, like, on the screen over here, right? I had a picture of Elon Musk. And I love Elon, but yeah, like with SpaceX, he has Tesla, he has ties into Solar City, PayPal, he's part of the original PayPal mafia. Right. And it's like, what do you do? I mean, you got to push yourself, you got to work hard, but you are bigger than just this one thing that you're doing. You are a story in the making, and you got to understand, especially if you're stuck in an office where you're working like 16, 17 hours a day. We're not saying quit your job. I mean, like a lot of people say it, don't quit it. Be strategic about placing yourself in the best situation where your story can shine. And if you're struggling to figure out what your story is, one of the things that it sounds like Price recommends is kind of just going after it. And I kind of agree. Go after the things that you're interested in, because it's kind of like the story of Goldilocks. I mean, this bed is too hard, this bed is too soft. Yeah. But you know what? After experimenting with some bed and some porridges, this porridge here is just right. But you kind of have to have the audacity and gall to go about doing it. Do things.
And everybody has 24 hours, so what are you going to do? Are you going to sit around and watch Netflix, which I've done with the shows I like? Or are you going to just work on whatever your side hustles are? Or you know what I mean? Are you going to go to the gym? Or are you going to get that workout in? Are you going to go send a couple DMs to someone you always want to reach out to? So it's really just your choices, right? we all had the same like time on the clock every day. So
let's talk about that. So yeah, you mentioned a few times already about DMing and people's stories. Now that we kind of have an understanding of who you are, some of your philosophy, and how I kind of align with that,
some tactics.
Some tactics and stories. Like I want to know, who has Price met? How has he met them? What's their story? What are some tactics? Like, what do you do? And what are some of the things you've come across?
Well, usually right now, especially now, I can't go 5 minutes with anyone I meet and not talk about David Meltzer. He's been incredible for me. We'll make sure we include David's info when this podcast comes out. He's been absolutely incredible for me. So I met this guy, David Meltzer, about 2 years ago in person. But how did I get there, right? How did I meet this pretty famous guy, right? You ever saw the movie Jerry Maguire? He basically is the guy behind that. We can talk a little bit more about his story now. David's incredible, but let's go to the DM. How did I meet this dude or anyone, right? So for me, like we sort of mentioned earlier, like if I like what someone's doing with a motivational person on Instagram, someone who plays FIFA, someone who likes basketball, I like their content, I start commenting, I write a couple things, and then when I DM, I either say, hey, thank you for sharing this. Maybe to start off, I really love this content, this really hit home for me. Just little things like that. I think when a lot of people DM, they make a big mistake like, can you do this for me? They start with the ask. And there's always that saying, you may know this in fighting, right? You want to give a couple jabs and then hit them with the hook, right? You want to knock them out. And that's sort of the approach there. You want to be like, you're closed later. And I think a lot of people just start with ask. And I think you should start with, how can you provide value? Do you need any help? And saying you appreciate their content and thanking them. That's how I've been able to build, I think over 3 years now, all my relationships that I have today. And it's really starting to snowball. And at the very end of the day, it's really just being genuine. If you can do that, or if you know how to do that, if you don't know how to do that, you can Google it. But I think everyone in this audience knows how to be genuine and what that really means. And not having like a front end sell or a back end sell to it. I just think just being a just natural, good human is the best way to connect. And just how can I be of service? And do you know anyone can help me? That's 2 lines from my buddy David Meltzer that has literally changed my life. And I try to put those in practice every single day. So to reiterate, how can I be of service? And do you know anyone that can help me? And that goes again to asking for help, how we started this whole podcast. So yeah.
That's interesting. It's about putting your needs behind anyone else's. You put their needs first.
Exactly.
So those 2 tactics, how can I be of service? And what was the other one?
How can I be of service? And do you know anyone that can help me? When you ask for help, don't put it like, hey, Umar, can you help me with this? Like, Umar, do you know anyone that can help me? Or Umar, do you know anyone that can help me? Sometimes you can help me just right away, or you may know of someone. So it doesn't put the pressure on you to say, no, I can't help you, right?
That's incredible.
So that's a little tactic there. Yeah.
And people want to help, right? I mean, you're not asking for someone's money. You're not asking for an investment. You're just asking for advice. You're asking for guidance and growth. And I feel like some of the most successful people in the world, they want to impart their wisdom. They want to teach people. It means everyone, or I would say most people who've kind of made it, they want to mentor someone, right? And they want to help them.
Absolutely. And I felt like some of the best people to reach out to, and you can do this locally, is anyone that has started or run their own business. You'd be surprised how much they really want to help you, maybe get you on your feet or whatever, get you started to whatever path you want to do, or maybe you can help them, just reach out to them like, hey man, do you need any help in any space? I really love the business you're running. How can I be of service? Boom. They can either not reply, oh well, right? On to the next one. Or you strike a conversation, next thing you know, you're meeting who they know, you're picking their brain on how they got to where they were. And all that, they have their own story. You can pick up tactics from that. You know what I mean? So there's just all kinds of stuff like that, little things like that.
What are some of the stories that you've learned or heard across as you were doing this? What are some interesting things that have come up along the way?
So actually the first time I met David Meltzer, he invited me up to New York.
Talk more about David Meltzer as well. Like who, for those who don't know, who is he?
So David Meltzer is, I guess first he's really just, he started in like the sports agency world. So like as I mentioned, Jerry Maguire before, so he's basically like the character. He's worked with Lee Starnes, who is what Jerry Maguire's movie is based off of. So super sports agent, right? Started in that space. Then he ventured off in a couple other businesses. Like he had a golf course, a ski lodge, all that good stuff, and had his hands in a lot of pots, which is good. Got a little bit over leveraged, lost everything, lost $100 million in 2008. Went bankrupt. The next morning, he had to tell his mom he had to move her out of her house, and he was just crushed. Didn't want to get out of bed, and he's now since bounced back. So that's a total redemption story there, right? And I couldn't imagine losing $100 million and telling my mom, "Hey, I got to kick you out of the crib, I just bought you." That would absolutely crush me. So to see him and listen to him tell the story when I saw him in New York just absolutely blew me away. We did some networking after that, and I ran into more people to network with. So sort of like you are who you hang with. So I was hanging around with Dave, and I met more incredible people that hang around Dave, and it's sort of the snowballs for that. And because I was up with Dave, they want to naturally just connect. Hey, this guy runs around with Dave. Let me connect with him. They know I'm at least a nice dude or legit dude or trustworthy dude at the very least. Maybe not a multi-billionaire, but I'm a good dude and I'm happy to help because that's the kind of people Dave brings around. So that just started with a simple DM to Dave. I tried to get a local famous basketball player on his show called The Playbook. Started from there. Got the horse to water. Didn't come through. I didn't execute on that. I got it really close. Still may happen. But Dave just is just such a nice dude. He says literally yes to everything. Whatever you ask him, it's absolutely incredible. And he tries to help and provide value, like we were just saying. And he invited me up because I was just telling him what I was going through in my life, literally through DM. And he would always reply to me either right away or within 24 hours. It blew me away because he's extremely busy, like we all are, but he's extremely busy. And his responses to my DMs just blew me away. I was like, oh my God, this guy's doing way more than me. And I can't even get to all my DMs. So I tried to make that a priority, whether it's my text, my email, or my DMs, try to stay on top of it. Because if Dave can do it, I can certainly do it. And just built from there. Been in contact with him since. That's a lot of the balls I got rolling now, including this whiskey back here. Little Harlem Standard, helping, make some markets for that. It'll be in Delaware soon. But I met Joseph Fordinger through David Meltzer at the same meetup in New York at the old Classic Car Club, right next to the Javits Center. You guys probably know what that is. I think it's Pier 74. It's the old horse barracks in New York, actually. So then I met Joseph Fordinger, and now I'm involved with, he's a strategic advisor with Harlem Standard, and I'm helping him develop markets. So it's available in all 50 states, not to do an advertisement, but you guys should be seeing more of that locally around here. So
how are you looking to help them out with the marketing of that?
So I'm developing markets. So I'm looking to close a deal here for distribution in Delaware. And then on top of that, I'm working with a guy we were talking about before, my buddy Terrence and his firm. And Terrence is working, I told you, he works with Disney and L'Oreal and some other big rap artists, actually. I'm going to get him involved with Harlem Standard because I think it'll really help grow the brand and maybe even become an investor. So, you make one contact and it snowballs, right?
So you're DMing people, sometimes you get a response, sometimes you don't. And then you're hoping that, of the ones that respond, you carry on the conversation, you ask them for advice. What are some things that you've done to help them out? Because it said you did mention that earlier, how can I help you? So when you're offering to help someone, especially if they're mega rich or famous or whatever, what value can price offer to them that they see value in?
Okay, so for me, and to learn, I'm doing all this with zero money and absolutely nothing. So you don't need money to do this. You don't need money to be nice or genuine. So that's all you need to be. So example X, Y, Z, you can ask them for help, and you may not be able to help them, but you can work. You can at least ask, or you may know someone that can help them. Say, oh, you need help building a new house. Let me talk to my guy. I know a guy. I may know a guy who knows a guy, right? And then you connect them. They do well. You just made a connection, relationship. They're happy with that. So then you provided some value, right? You save them some time to look at somebody. You got them somebody trustworthy, right? And that's just simply making a connection, right? And that's a way to provide value. But how do you provide value? It all depends on the person. They tell you what they need or what they're working on. And sometimes it's just like, hey man, can I do this little marketing project on something you're working on? I'll do it for free, right? And you're giving your time because your time is valuable. That's an asset, and your experience is valuable, and you can provide value that way. We are something, right? So we can all provide our own value to people.
See, what's interesting about what you're bringing up, because I'm starting to see this now in my life. Like I'm doing a lot of things and I'm busy, but I always make time for people. Having said that, sometimes I wish that this one thing that I'm doing, if I could just find someone to help me out with that. It's not that I can't do it. I can very much set this thing up, whatever it is, and I can do it. But by me doing this, does this mean that I cannot do something else? And so it's the idea that in your case, even if this person might know how to market themselves, maybe that's not their shtick. Maybe that's not what they're passionate about. And maybe, you know what? One of their tasks is having to go online trying to find someone, but they don't want to go through that process either. So if you're just going to knock on their door and say, hey, look, I see your website. It's not the greatest. I see that the way it's structured. Let me help you out with it. I'm not looking to charge you. I love what you're doing. I want to support you. They're like, done.
Exactly. Like, hey man, you provided me so much motivation through all your content in the past couple of years. Let me do this for you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. You provided me with so much motivation. Thank you. Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's sort of like how I go at things tactically. And it's genuine from the heart. It's a straight up compliment. Like I fucking love the shit you got out there. Thank you. Let me see if I can help you out with this. Yeah.
So that's interesting because I get DMs now on my Instagram as well. And there's people that I don't know and they shouldn't really know me, but they like my content. But they're like, hey, good stuff, bro. And then like, obviously they're trying to sell me on something. And like, cause I message them back sometimes and they're trying to sell me, hey, get more likes or follow. It's just like, it's so inauthentic. Like, do you really know me? Do you read my captions? Do you know my story? And in your case, you actually follow these people. You watch their content. You know their story.
Yeah. You read that, you know it, and it's all from the heart. And stuff I would do if we met in person, whether or not it's on Instagram. You know what I mean? So,
man, I'm getting fucking fired up here because like I want you guys to know one thing, right? Never ever come about life with the perspective of like I'm not enough or I don't have any value. No, you are always of value, and you can. And you can be of value. And I firmly believe that if you can be a person of value, then you will, and I'm not an economist or whatever, don't like, right, he's an economist, right? What I would say is you will survive almost any situation. Not just survive, you'll thrive it by providing value to people. It's so important. And it's almost never money. It's your time, it's your care, it's your attention. This person, she spent so much time putting this video together. Did you comment on it? Did you watch it? Did you also see where else you can help? See, if you're struggling to pay rent, if you're not making enough money at work, if you're struggling to find a job, the worst thing that you can do is just stay in that rut where you're just trying to think, gimme. No, even in the worst predicament you might be in, please find a way to be of value to another person. And if that person sees the value that you're providing them, then why would they want to see you fail or suffer? They're going to want to bring you along for their journey.
That, when you're in that rut, the worst thing you can do is not ask for help. Don't like stay on like depressed, because I've been depressed multiple times, still are at times, but don't stay on your couch for a couple of days just depressed like I've done here and there. Go out and ask for help, like whatever you need. And like we were discussing before, someone will help you. So like this is a little like mind fucking hack that I've learned actually through data as well. Is like, what if I told you you were 10 years away from your dream job, or making a lot of money, or vacation of a lifetime, or opportunity of a lifetime, and you didn't get to 10 no's, and the 11th time you asked, it was a yes. How would you feel? So you're only so many no's away. So rack up your no's, get to your yes. That's how I look at it.
That's beautiful, and I want to ask you about that. So rack up your no's to get to your yes, and it's easier said than done. But I mean, I've been hit with like no's many times in my life, and it's hard because when you get no, especially when it's something that you really want, you really want it. maybe you're just not ready for it yet. Maybe it's not a no forever. It's a no at the moment.
Right.
But if you keep showing up like Rocky, if you just keep stepping back up every time they say no and you say yes, in some ways you're really blowing these people's minds. You're like, oh my God, this person does not back down.
Yeah, be persistent in pursuit. Persistent in pursuit of whatever your goals are. I mean, you just have to be. You gotta be relentless if you want. Like I used to be on the basketball court, and still am if we get out there. But yeah, just be persistent, and after whatever pursuit you're going after, that's what's saying.
What would you say about those who don't see value in you right now? A lot of people have that hate or shine mentality. Oh, if you weren't there for my struggle, don't be there for my success.
I think that's stupid.
I do too.
So let's say someone just like totally blew you off, gave you the classic fuck you when you ask them for something, and then 2 years down the road, they see, hey, Namar has a great podcast I want to be on, and they like burned you like a couple years ago. The best thing to do is to have them on and say yes, like forgiveness, and just have them on and move on, because you're just being the bigger person there. And there's no reason to just like, hey man, this guy burnt me out a long time ago, I'm never going to deal with it again, or fuck him. That's not the way to do it, man. Just always be available to help. Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing. I mean, it's easier said than done. Like
that takes a lot.
It takes a lot. And because in some ways, this person who blew you off, they know that they blew you off. They know.
They knew they were a dick. Yeah.
Yeah. They knew that they didn't respond to your DM. They knew that you left them on scene, right? Like they know it, right? But now they see that you've got this platform or you've got this whiskey brand, and they want to get behind it. In some ways, like forgiveness is really important, because what are you robbing the audience of by not engaging this person in that conversation?
Yeah.
And you don't know what this person could bring to the table. In some ways, this person who blew you off before, who now wants to be involved, might bring you more opportunity than someone who's...
Even though like he may not in the future, exactly what you're saying. He could come around the next year, and then he has a connection that really helps grow what you're doing or help you out. So, it gives you more opportunities at that, to hit that home run.
It's really important to stay persistent to that grind and know your narrative and just kind of stay the course, because you're gonna face a lot of rejection along the way. I mean, right now what you're seeing is a few episodes in, and we've got like this big screen behind us. We're in this beautiful space, but you guys, most of you don't see the struggle I put in the past 13 years to get to where I am now. And it's like, the rejections that I faced along the way, they were beautiful because they gave me feedback along the way. They helped me course correct, and they helped me refine my narrative. But ultimately, it was never that no one, even the people who said no, they weren't really saying no. It was more like not right now. You know what? Now's not the time. But at the same time, these people who say no to you, they're really testing to see how far will this person really go. Because, I mean, anyone and their mother will wake up one day and be like, oh, yeah, let me just DM a few people, or let me just go to the gym today. Like, everyone's going to take one at bat, right? Everyone's going to try once, and then they quit. Right. So we're used to seeing people quit. Right. But what makes you want to keep going, keep messaging people?
Oh, shit. So as far as I'm told, we only have one life. So that's kind of a pretty big motivator, and that's pretty much regurgitating Gary Vaynerchuk. He has a beautiful office. I haven't met him though.
Who?
Gary Vaynerchuk.
Gary Vaynerchuk, okay.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
I've been to the office.
And you've met him?
No, he was in LA. But I have met their talent guy, Alex. He's really, really dope. We zoomed right during all his career and stuff, and he gave me a little tour of the office. It's pretty incredible. That was all through a DM as well. You can get to anybody you want to get to in this modern world, man. You don't have to send, Paul Revere with a letter. You can literally just write a DM or an email or anything, man. We're all connected now, which I think is really cool with the Black Lives Matter movements really springing up. And even the pushes, like the springs that happened in the Middle East with, all the pushes for democracy in that area, that really probably could have never took shape without, social media. Yeah.
Social media is huge, and it's interesting, right? When you're like the level of The Rock or Ariana Grande, or you've got like hundreds of millions of followers, sure. a lot of us see these people as inaccessible, and rightfully so. I mean, The Rock has, like, I think he's the #1 most followed Instagrammer in the world.
Right, but maybe you can get to a guy, they can get to a guy, they can get to a guy, they can get you to The Rock.
Exactly.
So that's where you start. So like, let's say you have like a pyramid, like a corporate hierarchy, right? Start with the undercards, work your way up, develop relationships the wrong way. Then when you get to that guy right below the top, that's when you strike. That's one thing I do tactically, even though it's not like my first thing, because I generally want to engage with the person. That's a great way to get to like someone you maybe always want to meet, or someone that's like a CEO of a company. Start at the bottom, develop general relationships, work your way up. Like, hey man, I'm gonna be here. You meet this person at, like, say their corporate happy hour, hang out with them, develop more relationships. Like, so you know, you get up to whatever the big fish is. So it's another way I go after it. Yeah.
And you make it sound so easy, though, right?
It takes time. It takes time. Like, I'm 3 years into this like type of stuff. So
you make it sound incredibly easy, and it almost sounds like it's too good to be true. Like, hey, so me, Nancy, Drew, whatever, like me, this person that no one really knows about, me, like Silent Ned, like, can I really start to social engineer myself to success? And I think, yes, you can. I think anyone can start DMing people, but here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to be spammy. And you also, I said earlier, you want to be of value, but you also, I think, you would need to have some sort of sense of like self and identity before you start messaging these people. Would you agree or disagree? Or can you just be like clueless, aimless in life and still message people and still build your network that way? Like, what would you say?
You can. I mean, you can always buy bots. Yeah. Which is not genuine, so don't do that. But yeah, there's different ways, but I think the best thing for advice in anything, really, like you were saying earlier, you go to the gym, as long as you stay active and do things, like just stay active, like it puts you in more opportunities to interact. So the most you can get in front of people or interact with people, you maximize your chances. It doesn't mean go gambling. It doesn't mean the more times you bet you'll win. But that just means it's like put yourself in places to be interactive with people. So,
that's very important. Yeah. It sounds like a lot of like your social capitals come from like just being around people, building up that network, and I think that in many ways leads to wealth. I think so. I remember being in middle school, and there was this like book that we read a lot of short stories, from those like thick textbooks that have short stories in them. And there was this one that really caught me off guard, and I was like, "Wow, did I really just read this in class?" And it was about these two brothers. This one brother was very academic, straight-laced and everything. He studied his butt off and he worked hard and he always thought that he was going to be successful. His other brother was lazy, didn't do any schoolwork or anything. But the one thing that he did was he always hung around people and he always networked with them. Right. And people thought that this lazy brother who was not doing anything in school, wasn't doing anything with his life, was going to get nowhere. Yeah. They thought that the academic was going to be successful. Turned out years later, this guy that just networked a bunch became ultra wealthy. And today you hear about it, but it's that's known. But years ago when I was in middle school, that was like taboo. Like, wow, they just really talk about this in middle school. And it's super important. Like Gary Vee talks about this as well. I mean, you never know.
Uncle Gary, he's great.
Uncle Gary, Uncle Elon.
Yeah.
Like you never know who you're connecting with. You never know. And I really think that putting your investing into other people will pay you huge dividends down the road.
Yeah, so like when we were up in New York with Paul to watch the best soccer team in the world, Liverpool, I brought Paul along with me to a Dave Meltzer meetup, and he met Dave, Paul met Dave, and then there I met his new assistant, Jake, who I'm real cool with. And Jake interned at VaynerMedia, Gary's company, knows all those guys real well. I was like, hey man, he saw like on my cell phone that I had like a Gary Vaynerchuk quote. And he's like, hey man, you a Gary Vee fan? I'm like, yeah man, I'm going to their office tomorrow. He's like, really? He's like, tell him I said what's up. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, I interned there for 2 years. I'm like, oh, okay, now tell him you said hello. So now I'm real cool with Jake. Yeah.
Dude, that's interesting. Yeah. Wait a minute. I thought you were going to say Jake introduced you to Gary Vee, but no, you actually found another way to get to Gary Vee. Yeah. And Jake was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That must have gotten him to respect you even more because you could have easily gone through the intern, I guess.
Yeah, no doubt. But I just met them. So like how I got a little visit to
talk about that.
Gary's office. So Gary started Banner Sports, and Dave Meltzer is actually helping Gary with his sports agency. But I was following a good friend of mine, Sally's alumni that plays on the Vikings, O'Neal, big 75, best right tackle in football, by the way. I saw one of Gary's guys that works at Banner Sports, like O'Neal's post. I'm like, why the hell is he liking O'Neal's post? Like, I know he doesn't know him. So I saw that, and the guy's name is Danny David, real dope dude. I just shot him a DM. It's like, hey man, I saw you just like my buddy's like post. He's like, oh yeah, man, we're trying to bring him into the agency. I go, okay. I was like, I can write him a little note for you if you want. But I started out in the DM with just saying, hey man, I love what you guys are building at Vantage Sports. I can tell you firsthand that O'Neal's a world class, first of all, athlete. Well, first of all, person and athlete. And I was like, if you got a couple minutes, I'd love to hear more about what you guys are building at Vantage Sports. He said, sure. How about a call tomorrow, 12 o'clock? I said, done deal. Talked to Danny for a half an hour. He told me about his agency and everything else. And that was my first in to the Banner X group. And then it just sort of Danny followed me back on Instagram, and then about a year ago, a couple of weeks before I was heading to New York, I just wrote this guy, Alex, who's their talent guy at Banner, a little message and said, hey, buddy, first of all, I complimented on their D-Wade commercial they did, which was absolutely phenomenal. I literally cried. It went viral all over the place. About a 5-minute thing about doing Wade retiring, which just really touched me. And I said, dude, this commercial is phenomenal. This content's awesome. And I hit him with, hey man, I'm going to be in the area trying to maximize my time up here in New York. Did a lot of stuff with Paul. We went on a 3-day bender. It was a blast. And then wanted to get some other productive stuff done. And I said, hey man, if you're going to be in the office, I'd love to kick it with you. He's like, sure man. So kicked it with him for an hour, gave me a tour of everything. So Gary's where he filmed everything. And just kicked it. We didn't even talk about business, man. We talked about life, which I love. And that's what I like talking about. So, yeah.
And this is a couple weeks ago?
This was last summer.
Last summer?
And then I got to tour. Yep.
Okay, so...
And I talked to Alex. We had about a couple of basically Zoom video chats since then, but yeah.
Now, are you planning on going back up to his office again for this whiskey, or was that just...
I don't know for the whiskey. I'd definitely be up to kick it with bros up there, no doubt, because I know some other guys that help do some work for them on the side. So, yeah. I'll probably be back up there. If I'm up there, I'm up there. Yeah. If I want to go up there, I'll ask. So, yeah.
And so that seems like to be the way that you've met a lot.
We're always open for people to come into the office. So, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So that's how you kind of meet up with a lot of these people now.
Pretty much.
Is it mostly DM or is it also in person? Do you strike up conversations?
Well, shoot, once you get a DM, next thing you know, you're hanging out with people, you're developing genuine friendships, so you could be out just kicking it, and then such and such is going to run through, and then next thing you know, they're sitting across from you. And then, let's go from there. It all builds the snowballs. Yeah.
What's your end goal?
My end goal is that end goal. I want to stay on a journey, just continuing to build myself. Because I don't think you ever reach perfection, but you just work your way there. That's what I like most about the point where I am in my life right now is I'm still going through whatever the journey is and whatever success is. And I don't know, I think you need to set success for yourself. There's no definition of success. There may be from a corporate or world perspective, but I don't, fuck what everyone else thinks as long as you're happy. It should probably be more measured in happiness than anything else. So,
are you working towards establishing? I mean, I know you got your hands in this whiskey,
right.
But are you creating a brand, or is it more so you want to just continue upping your network capital and your people capital?
Yeah, so I never even really. That's a good term, I guess. Your social capital and network capital. I never even thought of it like that. But I guess I am. I guess it is capital. It does obviously provide some value for me and others. But yeah, continue because I love people, so that complements what I love doing anyway, meeting people. So I'm going to continue doing that. Who knows what's going on down the road? I may hop in on an agency or two, and then do some daily work or whenever we work. Sometimes nights, sometimes in the middle of the night. But yeah, so just seeing what's going on, but just staying active and doing things, I think is very key. Just for any kind of growth or development.
I think so too. I mean, I got a friend, Tommy, who I'm going to be hanging out with later on today, Tommy Leonard, and he said the same thing, just like do things. And what's interesting is, so for you, I don't know if you, I mean, I know you post on Instagram as well, but
I don't have a shit ton of followers. So now you're not going to look at myself and have like millions of followers. I'm just a regular old dude. You know what I mean?
And that works for you.
Yeah,
it works for you real well. But I think as you built up the people that you do know who follow you back, I would imagine that other people also notice that.
Like I could reach out. Well, yeah, they'll probably see that. I mean, that's probably how Alex saw that. Like Danny David followed me, and he's like, okay, this guy made it somebody like. And that's like he actually asked that like in his first question when we were talking. I was like, so how do you know Danny David? And I told him, he's like, okay. I was like, yeah, Danny's mad. He's like, yeah. But yeah, so but the one thing I do like about whoever followed me, like I can reach out to them right away. You know what I mean? It's not just like a bot or someone I don't like really know for the most part. Like probably 90% I can DM them like, hey, I'm in your city, I need a place to crash. It's like, boom. So genuine relationships there.
This is incredible stuff. Guys, I want you to take this in. I post a ton on social media. I'm posting almost every single day. And for me, I'm on the side of like, I'm a content creator. And because I'm creating things, people like Jason can interact with it, like it, comment on it, things of that nature. What's interesting though is that what Jason is saying is that you don't need a big social media following. You also don't even need to be active on social media that much, right? But as long as you're watching people's content and you're engaging in it, that in and of itself can be a way into that conversation.
Right, and for me, so like tactically now, and I just love it. I live on Instagram stories. That's where I post most of my content on what I'm doing. So like basically your Snapchat, but on Instagram. If you guys don't know what Instagram stories is, and that's where I live. I post a lot. As far as content goes, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I'm sure this podcasting we're doing is not going to be like, Oscar winning, right? But it doesn't have to be. It's content, right? And someone gets some value out of this. It doesn't have to be like masterfully done or masterfully edited. It's just us like kicking it, like we're going to after when we open these bottles up. So,
so what's interesting about this is that I started posting a lot just in the past few months or so, and I was scared at first. I mean, as Tommy, my friend, says, he's always hitting the panic button. As soon as he hits post, he's panicking, right? Yeah. And in some ways, it comes up, right? And I've been posting stuff on my own personal blog, Unfolding Destiny, and I'm just starting to put content out there. And it's interesting because at first, I didn't really think anyone was engaging, and I didn't think anyone really cared. But then I started getting direct messages saying, hey, your workouts are inspiring me. Your message is so positive.
Absolutely. I just said the GIF the other day when I saw you working out. Like, I was like, this is dope. Yeah.
Right. And you sent it to me publicly. There's also people commenting in the back and is just messaging me directly. For whatever reason, they don't want to comment on the post, but they'll message me about it, right? And so my thing is that you owe it to yourself and to your audience to start putting yourself out there, start doing things. As you said, as Price has said, it doesn't have to be perfect. This MixoChat conversation here is far from perfect. I mean, it's just not. It's good when we've got lights, camera, action roll, and we've got a nice space, but the fact is I kind of social engineered myself into this space as well, right? And so I absolutely did. I had through Paul, right? And so like, this is a beautiful setup over here, man. I wish you guys could kind of see what we've got over here. Maybe if you look at my story today, you'll see some of the back.
We'll put it in the outtakes.
We'll put it in the outtakes, right? The outtakes are funny, by the way. Yeah. That's the other thing. We had to film this thing like 4 times just to get it right. But my thing is like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Price is saying the same thing. You just kind of have to just start doing and put yourself into the momentum of doing.
Make shit.
Just make shit. Put it out there.
Yeah, that's absolutely key. Like just doing stuff. And like the good thing about us talking now, or Numair, yeah. I'm getting it. Working out, right? So someone may be going through like a similar struggle as I have. I've gone through a lot of personal struggles, Obviously, depression, transition from like being the man in sports and just everyday life. That's a lot of stuff. Actually, pro athletes have talked about when they retire from sports, the battles with no longer being the man or whatever on the field. It's a big mental hurdle for them to go back to not being on the field and that rush you feel. Yeah, it's just stuff like that, man. I mean, what do you think on that point?
So that's interesting that you bring that up. I mean, like, because you've also brought this up a couple times about depression and like just being able to reinvent yourself, especially after you've left the spotlight and just constantly doing things, because that's what you have to do. I mean, are you someone else's story, or are you the hero of your own story? Are you creating yourself over and over again? Are you constantly putting yourself out there? Like Michael Jordan, he wasn't just an NBA star, he was also an MLB player, but then he also became a part of Haynes, and then he owns the Wizards, and so he's constantly pushing himself as well. So there are different phases in your life. Hornets now, okay.
Maybe still some of them too, yeah. But
so
yeah,
it's like he's doing all right, right? So talk about that. I mean, if you want to go down this rabbit hole here, but like you talked about depression a couple of times. Talk about that. Like, what was that like, and how did you overcome that?
Well, I mean, still you can still go like when Liverpool loses, which hasn't happened in a long time, but they did in Champions League. That was a little depressing. Right?
Yeah,
you can go through little pockets of it, or just like be down for that day. But everything's mental, right? So like you choose your happiness. So happiness is a choice. And if someone like cuts you off while you're driving, you can get pissed. You're like, oh man, at least I didn't get an accident. It's like the bright side of life, right? The old Monty Python thing. Always look on the bright side of life. I think like that's what you need to. That's how you need to approach it. Like I can be pissed. Someone just spilled coffee all over me, right? And if I'm not burned to hell, I should be happy, right? There's just all kinds of like little things like that. I just feel like having the choice, like things that used to like piss me off, like that motherfucker did that, doesn't piss me off anymore. I just like try to take a deep breath. It was like a meditation breath, and then roll on. You know what I mean? And continue. Because I feel like if you carry what happened earlier into like the rest of your day or your next conversation, you can bring a lot of negative energy. So I think it's important to like. It took me a while to do this. Like always be positive. And that you feel that energy when like you see another person walk in the room, smile on their face, and they just say, "Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Dope shoes, like you just did for me when we walked in, right?" So that just has like an aura about it that can just like really brighten up someone's day and make some massive difference. Because someone could be going through like a big depression spell or something like that. Or like the good thing about us posting what we're going through, someone will be able to relate to it. So you're working out, someone can be related to like the struggle they may have with weight or just like staying fit or just like overall health, and you sharing your story or our story can maybe be relatable to someone else going through a similar struggle or a similar journey. So
that's really profound. I love that. I love that you share that, because I was 223.9 pounds. I was like big, and like for me to have lost all that weight or shed it off, and it's been an incredible journal, like intentionally crafted, but I've also been documenting my journey along the way. And
I think it's so good you've been doing that. It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like perfect. Like the lighting isn't the greatest. It's a nice basic basement. There's tile flooring, and I've just got weights on the floor, and I've got this power tower behind me. But it doesn't matter. That's what kind of makes it authentic. People wait until they've gotten to some level of what they think is success to start sharing and documenting. But no, you document your journey along the way. You let people in on the reality show that's unfolding. And then through that, you start to find your voice as well.
Right, absolutely. I totally agree, because as you said earlier in this cast, like you have your unique story, and for you to share that provides value to the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Because it's your story. They can't get that on Amazon and Netflix because it's your story. Unless you sell it to them.
And even then, it's the abridged version, right? You want the unabridged version. You want the Instagram stories, the Snapchat stories. You want
the rawness of that journey.
The rawness of this journey. Now, of course, this is kind of like, this is going to be edited, whatever. But even then, this is still raw. This is real. This is live. And this is something that's going to be added to the mix of the greater like mosaic of our lives. It's important. Now, what I will say is some people, because it took me 13 years before I really started documenting. Like this stuff on a schedule, weekly. This stuff took me a very long time. So I'm not saying that you're going to be able to start doing this overnight. And there might be a point in your life where you're still trying to figure yourself out and you don't want to misrepresent yourself. I'm not saying that if you're going to start a company that you start documenting every single aspect of that company, because there's going to be parts of the stuff that you want to keep private, very similar to a team, an NFL team or a basketball team that doesn't want to expose their secret plays to the world. So what I will say is exercise some common sense, right? If something doesn't feel right, don't start sharing that. But if something does feel right, if something seems like, all right, well, I'm lifting some weights over here, I'm talking to this person, and the only thing that's holding you back is you're just afraid of what people might think, well, no, just throw caution to the wind and just do it. Because that's how you build your brand, and that's how people start to know you.
Yeah, and on top of that, just do it and don't worry about what other people think. Like, this one's like a hard one to wrap your head around, probably was for me. Like, don't give a shit about your reputation. Sounds really stupid, right? But if you know who you are, that's all you need to know, right? So if someone thinks you're a dick, then oh well, fuck them, right? Because you know you're not a dick. And I think that's also a good thing to add to, as far as what you're saying, like not worrying about what others think, because you know who you are at the end of the day, right? So
yeah, the very thing that you are is unchangeable. I mean, like I believe that your personality can change over time, or your identity, like not like you're who you are at the core is still you, but you grow and you evolve. But I mean, if you're gay or if you're transgender, if you're white or if you're black, I mean, these are things that you cannot change about yourself. And if someone doesn't like you, then okay, there are other people that will like you. Don't just change yourself just to please other people. Don't be that class clown, but be the hero of your own success story and put yourself out there and trust that even if certain people don't respond right away, people will see the overall collective of what you put out there. And that's very, very important. Very important, especially when it comes to networking. Like as you mentioned, as Price mentioned, you're going to meet people. Sometimes they're going to say no. Sometimes, you know what? People are just going to want to take a shot at you because they just want to see the benefit. They want to give you the benefit of the doubt. If you're hungry and you seem cool and you seem trustworthy, they're probably going to let you in on their inner circle. And that's probably how you get access to, like, you know, what's funny, like I might be segueing just a little bit here, but think about it this way. There's ways to pay for a game. You can buy the tickets to the game, or you can just become invited to that same game because you know the right person, right? And so, like, you don't have to talk about specifically the things that you've gotten, but I'm sure just by you networking, there's been things that you've been given, just experiences that you've been invited to, things that you've been offered for free that other people would have had to have paid for, just because you were cool and you were in that moment, right?
Absolutely. So say like it's a speaker conference, right? It's in the area. Like I can just be like, yo, bro, I'm coming up. You know what I mean, right? And so the people in the audience like are paying for that, even though it's going to bring them a ton of value for paying for a conference. Which actually, I'm going to get a conference around here. I was thinking about putting on once all this stuff clears up. And I got a spot and idea for that. So hopefully we can actually bring some people down that we were talking about on this podcast, I'm thinking.
Oh, absolutely. Like one little thing I want to mention about that is that I'm not to say that like the people who do pay to attend these conferences, they really benefit because I mean, like, you can have a bunch of people in a room who just got in for free and they're not ever going to transform. Right. You pay to play, right? So we are saying that, like, if you paid to go to that basketball game or you paid.
I'm not saying to provide invite. Like, I'm just saying, like, hey, man, I'm coming around just like this is my hungry from back in the day.
Right.
Basically that.
And that does work.
Yeah.
So, Price, I mean, do you have any parting thoughts? Anything else that you want to share with these with the audience?
Oh, yeah. So just to circle back, how can I be of service? And do you know anyone who can help me? Always ask for help. And just to cap it off here, please feel free to hit me up on Instagram and let me know how I can be of service. My handle is P_Rice.
P_Rice.
And we'll have that edited and thrown up there for you guys.
Yeah, we'll throw it up there. I do want to ask you just one little thing that's kind of, I want to make sure I understand this.
Sure.
When you hit up these people, you ask them how they can help you or how you can help them.
How I can help them. And then on top of that, if I have an ask, I ask them, do you know anyone that can help me? So it's twofold.
Eventually or just right away?
I do it eventually. So I usually just go and build a genuine relationship, and then I'll do it straight. Because if you're asking right away, like, hey bro, can you share this or like this for me? With, you know, why? It just seems like you've run up my numbers, right? It's not like they probably get thousands of DMs. saying, hey, can you like or share this? Or can you follow me? And that's just going to get ignored in the DM. It's not going to like do anything. So like, remember in DM, hey man, I think I really provide you a lot of value. And then XYZ after that. Because they'll see like, hey, free value. I want to help you at the top instead of like, please follow me back. Because they get thousands of that. So you got to put yourself, you got to stand out when you're writing these messages.
Be of value, dig deep within yourself. Don't go for instant gratification. It's not that big of a deal. Your brand isn't just gonna just wither overnight if you don't get that like right away. Build your reputation over time. Be of value. Be of service to others. Figure out how you can help them. They know that you want something in return, but most people will still go up to another person asking gimmies because it's the easiest thing. You can mass DM a bunch of people, and through the law of numbers, someone might hit you back, right? But it's the wrong way to go about doing it if all you're doing is trying to figure out how they can serve you. No, figure out a way to help them, and you will get what you want eventually. But be of service, be of value. I don't care if you're living in your mom's basement. There's a way to DM someone to offer them some of your time to make their life a little easier. And that's how you elevate your ranks in society.
Yeah, totally agree, man. And as long as you're keeping the lights on, just keep staying in business, keep plugging away. I mean, continue to plug away. That's how you get there, man. Persistence.
All right, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. And we'll keep in contact. We're going to continue to help growing each other's brands and just help each other out. Sure. And for you who are watching, if there's anything you took away from this, make sure that you go and just put yourself out there, network. In the case of Price, he was shy, he's an introvert, but nothing stopped him from DMing people. And now because he's confident, he's also able to converse with people in person. Because he was an athlete, because he played basketball, that gave him the confidence to also be aggressive in the field and business and everything else. So build your whole life up. And these are a lot of different things to take into consideration, but it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter where you are, like socially, professionally, romantically, or whatever. Start thinking about how you can be of service. All right, man, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me on, bro.
Absolutely. This has been a MixoChat. If you found value in it, you know what to do. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.